So it's June 23rd and I just watered my plants with my compost tea that I will show you in another video how I set that up. And the bees are coming. So over here we have my beets. Actually, we'll get down nice and low. We have the beets here, here, and here. They're doing really well. My radishes are really taking off in the middle. And there's a nice beautiful bee buzzing around, so I'm going to try not to disturb it. One, because I don't want to get stung, and two, they're necessary for the garden. Here we have the mixed greens that are doing really well, and the carrots. Now, I did do carrots and germinating in a paper towel. It didn't go very well, especially upon transfer, and it looks like just planting straight into the soil with the carrot seeds works out better. For that, I just sprinkled it on the top, sprinkled lightly some soil on top of that, and I got this. So it's doing really well. Sunflower seeds are doing really well. Again, lesson learned. You plant it where you want it to permanently grow. Transplanting caused it to become weak, versus this one that stayed here. It's nice and thick. These three, which were all started at the same time, not doing so well as far as thicknesses. Here we have the strawberries. This was the only plant that actually gave me strawberries. And this one looks like it's ready to harvest. So I'm just gonna take it off. So I will try it later and see how it is, and I'll let you know. I'm not too concerned about strawberries. Not something that I'm focusing on at all this gardening season. Maybe next year. Now my green beans have done excellent, and I would show you what's going on in the green beans, but I have a nice little bee just doing its job. So here we go. So we have a lot of green beans. If you remember last year, I planted my green beans in the middle of my peppers that were here and my tomatoes that were here, so it didn't get much sunlight. Here I grew it by itself, and look at all I got. Last year I think I harvested like 2 or 3, and look at all the green beans that I have this year. I have a lot of green beans growing, as you can see. I am going to end up harvesting some of this soon. I'll be sure to give you a video on the harvesting of my green beans. That way you can see it and I can let you know how they taste. So we have the salvia here. I did also water this with my compost tea because I want it to be big and beautiful. The aloe. My cilantro, which I did harvest some of it, as you can see. Herbs grown yourself versus store-bought is a huge difference, especially in smell. It's a lot more potent, and in flavor it's great. So we have the cucumbers here. If you can remember, this cucumber was actually at this end, and I did harvest a lot of cucumbers off of it, but it didn't look this beautiful. There are a lot of flowers here. A lot of flowers. There's lots of bees and ants and everything going into there and actually pollinating my cucumbers. So it's doing really well. We have the eggplant, which is in the same spot that I had it last year, and you know, it's pretty much doing about the same. I have a flower already here.
Did you drop this?
So there's my eggplant. Then we have my jalapenos, which were actually more towards this end, which are doing really well. I actually have jalapenos already here. I'm going to wait till these guys get a little bit bigger before I actually harvest them, but they're doing really well. The plant is actually growing some, sorry about sunlight here, is growing some, so I'm happy about that. Then we have here the green bells, which is growing quite a bit and flowering as well. We have the Big Bertha, which is a red pepper variety, which is doing well also. I haven't gotten any flowers yet, but there is some budding happening, which I'm really pleased to see. Here we have the yellow bell pepper, which is doing really well. One of the flowers actually burned out, as you can see. It burned out and fell, but it did have a little pepper growing on the inside, as you can see. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. It doesn't fall off, but it's doing really well as well. So onto the tomatoes. Now my cherry tomatoes are doing great. They're far outgrowing everything else, which is a good thing because I like cherry tomatoes, but a bad thing because it's shadowing out the beefsteak. So I was going to wait till next year to chop down some of these branches because I don't want it to fall onto my garden. But my husband said he would help me on getting them cut down because I need some sunlight to get to these beefsteak so that my plant can grow. It's not growing very much. It has grown just a little bit since I planted it, transplanted it, and switched it with the Better Boys, but I needed to grow a little bit more because I love tomatoes, and I have people from work that actually love the tomatoes that I had from last year as well, so I would like to see some growth in that. The Better Boy over here is doing actually pretty well. I was happy that I transplanted it over to its own little container. It is growing a lot and showing some flower pods. And look, as you can see, there's actually a flower growing, so it's doing really well. I might end up having to get another bucket and taking the beefsteak, transplanting into that as well. Now, I've been saying it for weeks, but I do need to get some trellising for this yellow bell pretty soon because it is getting a lot bigger. So on to the cinder blocks. We have the rosemary that's finally coming up and getting bigger. The sage that has been doing really well since I planted it. The basil, which is doing great. It's actually getting a lot taller, a lot fuller. So I'm happy to see that because we use a lot of basil cooking, especially in the summertime because it's a very refreshing herb. Here we have the oregano, which is taking a lot longer than I expected to grow, but it is growing, so I'm happy about that. We have the dill here that I do need to harvest. My husband says he likes to cook with dill, so we'll see what he makes with this, and I'll keep you posted on that. Here we have the tarragon, which is a lot bigger than the last time you saw it. So over here we have very important herbs to a Spanish household besides the cilantro and the oregano is parsley. We have the flat leaf on this side, and then we have the curled on this side. They're both doing really well, growing very full and beautifully. I've been having to go in and take out cobwebs that have been kind of weighing them down, but they're doing excellent in the cinder block. So we have the broccoli. I cut the original shoot that was here, and some more have come, but they're about to go to flower. Broccoli doesn't really work for me growing. It's not really that expensive in the store, so I'm definitely not going to do broccoli next year. Here we have our onions, which are doing really well. Here we have our garlic that I don't expect to find or get much out of it. I have a worm here, so I'm going to take this worm where the ants get to it, which doesn't look like it's doing too well, and toss it into my raised bed. The garlic, I will not see much of till probably the fall or early next spring. Better time to plant is